Hello, my name is Calcinez. Welcome back to Cal Smoker Company. And what we're doing right now under TinkerCAD, we now return back to this. And as promised, that we will use the spool winder as our beginners to actually use engineering concept onto TinkerCAD. So hopefully you learned the TinkerCAD from the other videos. So thank you very much for watching them. And then we'll continue our service on TinkerCAD in a different online source. But right now, this will be a free one for beginners for the spool winder. As you can see, the title for beginners. Today on this video we're going to show you how to actually make our own spool winder, so we'll discuss what that is. And what we're going to do right now is actually trying to, if you do have a older version from MakerBot Replicator Mini Plus, and if you still have the spools, then we're going to show you how you transfer the larger spools onto the smaller spool. Because right now the spool that you, and also the machine that you have, is now discontinued because of this design and the spools that it was discontinued for that reason, and that it wasn't that good platform. But as of right now, there's a new one, which is the MakerBot Sketch, and that one's coming up. Right, it already is in the market right now. The cost of it is about $1,299, and that's gonna be include shipping and handlings. It does have the other offers too as well, with one spool, a guide manual, some tools, and the printer itself. So just give you a heads up on that one. But also for a large amount of quantities, that will be a different one on a different store on the MakerBot company, or under my website too as well. That will be till later on in the future. So let's continue on right now. Now then, so like I said before, we're going to make our own spool winder off of the TinkerCAD. So that'll be our first beginners to actually show you what's the basic tools that you'll be needing right now. So I'm going to transfer my camera. Okay, so welcome back right now onto the camera. And as you can see in front of me, there's this spool right here. So this is the traditional spool that is being used right now for the Replicator and the other printers, which is the Z18 and the Method and other printers as well. This one is the one that we're using right now off of the Sketch. So this is the largest spool that's being used right now. So right now this is the empty one, and this is one that's easy for me to actually use lightly right now. And then the next one is the spool that we had traditional from the MakerBot Filament Mini. This is the smaller version right now. As you can see, this is the smaller size, as you can compare those two different sizes. So that's what it looks like. But their spool sizes is the same diameter, so that's good news right now. So right now I have a spare one just in case for us to actually measure out. So the idea for us to make a spool winder is basically a traditional tool that was used before that, during the 80s and 90s, or maybe basically the 70s through the 2000s, is called the cassette player. So many of you don't know what cassette players is. It's a device that has transferred a windable film inside the cassette player, and that was being recorded on the device. Same thing as a phone where you play music, but this time they use the other traditional method to use a film to record music onto that one, and that will actually translate the I think it was the electronics onto the surface of the film, and that will be played onto the surface of the cassette player. So, and how does it work is that on the spool, it's the same concept as a spool. So you have two spools, except the cassette player has two same size. So it'll be like this right here. Has two sides, and after that, what it's going to do is that you have one side. Whoops, excuse me. You have one side of the filament, which is this one, which has the filament right here, and it's going to be transferred this one onto this the empty spool right here, and this will be wind itself back and forth, or both of them will be going or circling itself in the same direction clockwise, and that will be at the same speed, and that will be spooled from the newer film onto this other older spool, or to the new spool, to produce another film on top of it. So hopefully that makes sense. So you get the concept of it. So that's what we're gonna do right now with the TinkerCAD. But this time, what you could do is transferring the bigger spool, which is this guy, the bigger spool onto the small one. So that way it'll be the opposite, where you transfer the larger spools from the 900 milligrams. Actually, this is about 0.9 kilograms onto the 0.2 kilograms. So there's a big difference on the size and the weight. So you have 0.9 kilograms and 0.2 kilograms. If you see my other videos from the other ones about filament material management, check that video out. That one's an important one to actually understand why it's important to have filaments management too as well. So that same concept as is. So we're gonna transfer the big one onto the small one. That way we can actually save more spool from here onto this little guy to actually transport your MakerBot Mini Plus. Depending on how many spools you have, if you have 4 of them, that's great. If you have 2 of them, it's good too as well. If you have 1 at a time, kind of go easy on the spool, because again, it depends how many spools that you have left on your side. So, okay, now then, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at the 2 major areas. One, is this thing perfectly flat? Because right now on the inside, we notice that there's a deep concave inside of this the spool itself. Same thing with this right here. So we can't 3D print a material that actually goes upward unless we have to, because we have to use up all the material going inside this film right here. But lucky for these method or MakerBot spools, this side has a flat surface, so that's good news, with a little bit of lip on the side, so that way it'll be on top of it. So once I flip right here, you can actually see it's kind of like a little bit lip loose, so that's good news for us to actually put this on the top of the printed part of our spool winder, and that we can actually use that to actually spool around. So we have a few things right now. What's our distance from here to here? What's the size of the circle diameter? And how do we actually hold this thing down to actually transfer these ones without having it being loose all the time? And on top of it too as well, should we add a handle onto it? Which, yes, we can add a handle onto it. So, the first one on your tools is the ruler. You need this type of ruler. I have a 6-inch ruler or a 12-inch ruler. I can get this over here. There you go. A 12-inch ruler. Okay, now then. First off is that we're going to do is measure our diameter of the hole. So we could go from the inside, and we're going to measure up to about 2 inches inside. That's it. That's all we're going to do for 2 inches right now. Do not worry about going above the lines or anything like that, because again, if you have young kids, if they're learning about using TinkerCAD, it's best to actually try 2 inches. And your units on your TinkerCAD should be in inches, so that way that's the only common unit you can actually try that one out. So now I'm going to try this one on this spool right here. We're going to see if it's the same size, if it is the same 2 inches. There we go. So now we have 2 inches right here. We have 2 spools that has the same diameter. Okay, then we want to make the base of it, which it'll sit on top of it. So this one right here, it'll be our shaft that will go inside. This will be our base. So our base from here, let's go make about 3 inches. So right here, we're going to make it exactly 3 inches in the middle. Because the reason why, if you have a MakerBot Mini Plus, or if you do have a MakerBot Replicator, that's good news. You got to print it a little more bigger. But again, let's go try this on a small scale. So if you have a MakerBot Mini Plus, make sure to take out the table of the build plate. Here's the build plate, what we have. And we're going to measure this area of this volume. So we're going to measure out. Kind of be careful, this thing has a magnet onto here. And we're going to measure up about 4 point, actually this ain't 4.25, okay. So we're going to do about 4 inches. And this way, we're going to go behind this right here, this little tab. It's going to be about 4.5. So it'll be about this small volume, about 4 inches by 4 inches, or 4 inches going this way, 4.5 going this way. So that's good news, because since we're going to have 3 inches this way, and we're going to put the 3 inches, and we're going to print out in a circle, we have enough room to actually fit inside this one right here. So that's good news. Okay, so now we have 3 inches, but how can we actually insert those tabs inside this one right here? Okay, so what we're going to use now is the squares, hopefully, and we're going to measure off about this little 1 tab only. That's it, this area. And we're going to do a circle inside the TinkerCAD, which I'll show you that one next. And this one is going to be roughly about a 1/2 inch on this gap. So it's going to be about 3 inches radius. That's great. And it's going to be center off. And it's going to be 1/2 inch at the end of the tip. But we need to figure out how far we're at on this area right here. So that's the thing we have to look into right now. We have to look into our measurement. So what we can do is on this line right here, starting from here, to here, you kind of notice it's kind of like a straight line. What we can do is use our eye level. We can measure it behind it, and that's going to give us about 3.25 before it. But we can minus that a little more downward, so that'll be about 3.125. So that's like around here, about 3/1/8 of an inch. But we're going to go into decimals. It's going to be about 3.125. So again, well, I'll have the dimensions out onto the as I'm discussing along the way on the video. Okay, so now we got everything else ready to go, but we need to figure out how do we actually attach these ones onto our system. So there's different ways you can try it. You can have a board going this way, a 1x4" board, either a small one, or you can actually try these boards right here. I'm gonna be right back again. If you have a nearby hardware store, anything else that is an Ace Hardware store, Home Depot, or any stores that you have to, or you have to order online too as well. That's the only way you have to get on your, if you have it on mail. You can actually buy this one called the Poplar Hobby Board, which is this strong, sturdy board. This is very, very thin material, so that's good news. You can actually drill into it, and then on top of that, you can actually put on top of it, and that'll be your strong board right here, and that'll be easy this way here. Or what you can do is same concept as the board, same thing. Your dimensions gotta be about is 3.5 inches, and our length from here, let's go make it about 12 inches in length. So it's gonna be 12 inches. And what you can use is cardboards too as well. Cardboard's the same structure too as well, a lot more stronger, a lot more durable if it's like flatward, if it's flat. So that way you have to like do like a little bit tears, like if it's like bending this way. We don't want to do that. Or where can I find a cardboard around here? If I can find one. Okay, basically I don't have one with me right now, the cardboard, so I guess I threw them all away. Okay, but yeah, you get the concept of it. Cardboard, cut the same thing. Make your thickness a lot more sturdy, because that way it'll be a lot more stronger. So it'll be stronger this way on this direction. Because I can see I can't bend it. As you can see, I can't bend this direction. But if I do this direction, you can see it's kind of deflecting just a little bit more. There we go. See? You guys see a little more deflection onto it, so it does bend towards this direction, so it's a little bit weak. So make sure your cardboard will be cut this way, about 12 inches long, and make sure you actually apply glue on top of it, layers by layers, about maybe 4 cardboards thick above here. So you can just cut it, layer on top of it, cut it again, layer on top, layer on top. You can actually use the glue at the same time, because again, we're making a spool winder. We're not making something a little more stronger and sturdier. We're just making a spool winder to actually transfer your spool from here to here. Okay. Now then, since we got everything else ready to go, we got our diameter, which is 2 inches. We got our 3.25 going this big circle right here. Then we got our squares onto this area. So our square, the main one again, is going to be 1/2 inch by, let's see, I think we have to bring down the 1/2 inch on this direction, because right now we can't make these 1/2 inch going this direction right here. We got 1/2 inch going this way, that's good news, but I think we can make about either 1/4 inch, so that way it'll hold up the spool, and go from there. This one might be the same thing too as well, same thing, 1/2 inch going this direction, that's good news, but it's not gonna be 1/2 inch going that way. So let me go double check just in case. Yep, we're good. We have the clearance right there, but no clearance on the other direction. That's great news. So we're gonna try that one. Okay, so now let's go into our TinkerCAD. So switch camera. Okay, so now we're on to TinkerCAD. Now let's go begin. So let's go on top view right here. Make sure your view is right here at the bottom of this little tab. It says switch to flat view. Make sure it's under orthographic. So if I switch right here, we're under, it'll say switch to perspective view. Switch that one. So make sure you switch that to perspective view. So, okay, now what we're gonna do next is our circle. So we're gonna make our base on top. There we go. Doesn't look like it's like top, but I think it's okay. Measurement, and we said it is about 3.25. 3.25. Enter. Make sure our units are in inches, so that's good news. We're in inches right now. Same thing in this direction right here. 3.25. Enter. There we go. And this should be in the center of the build plate. So 3.25, 3.25, that's good news, but our build plate is not the size, so we'll go to settings down here. Our width is going to be 4 inches, that's true. And the other one's going to be 4.5. Oops, 4.5, enter. Okay, and that should give us our width. So this is the exact width right now. Where our sides, we're going to go up to the highest one to give it a clean surface, so it'll become 64. There we go. Now our height, well, let's go make up to 0.25 inch thick. So our 0.25 on our ruler that you saw before is behind the half from behind the 1 inch, and it's behind the numbers behind that, so it'll be a little more smaller, but it's a lot thicker, and that'll be more stronger for you to actually put onto the base. So that's good news. So I got that one. Now, next one is our second one, is our column. We're going to choose our cylinder again. We're going to place it in the center. Let's go to the top view. Top. Oh, that's right, too as well. I'm using my mouse too as well at the same time. So if you go back to my other videos too as well, I made a video about shortcuts and tools and features on your keyboard for computer drafting. I suggest going to that video too as well, just in case if you want to learn more about the mouse structure and the keyboard shortcuts too as well. And I cover the basic tools under TinkerCAD, Onshape, and SolidWorks. Okay, now then, once we got this one right here, the circle is now selected. On your keyboard, hold down Shift, which is at the bottom right corner. It'll say Shift with an arrow, or Shift right there. It'll say SHIFT, the word Shift. Hold it down, and we're going to click on our big circle. Click down until these two are selected, or until you see those says Shapes 2. So 2 shapes are selected. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into Align. We're going to align in the center right here, and we're going to align this one right here just in case. Once that's done, we're good to go. Now you should have this like this right now. And our height, I forgot to look at the height too as well, our depth. So our depth from the inside is going to be, what do you know, 1 inch. So we are good to go on the 1 inch right now. Or actually, not really. So on the, whoops, I think we're not on the perspective. Yeah, okay. Or orthographic view, okay. So now, our inch, this is going to be 1 inch right here. That's true. This one's going to be 1 inch. But our base is covering about 0.25 inches. So our 1 inch is now below there. So we have about 3/4 of an inch. What we can do is we can actually add this up. So I'm going to tilt this view just a little more slight downward. We're going to select this little square on top of the cylinder. Select that one until you see 1 inch. Click that one. We're going to type in 1.25. There we go. So now this one should look exactly 1 inch on top, because again, our base is 1/4 inch. We added into it, but we added our 1 inch on here, but it went downward inside this space right here. So we add in a 1.25. So the 0.25 from here matches the 0.25. So this will become 1 inch above here. So that'll cover our base from there. Okay, so now then, next one is, let's see, our diameter for this circle right here. So our diameter from here is going to be 1 inch by 1 inch, but we said it's going to be about 2 inches by 2 inches. So now we're going to change that one. 2 by 2. There we go. But we are not online. So this one's going to be on hold right here, or it's already been highlighted. Hold down our Shift key. We're going to select this base right here. Align it. Align this part and align this one until everything else is now centered out. There we go. So now we got this giant spool, so that's good news. I'll show you the next one to actually how do we empty this one out, and actually we can actually add in our key. So I got this right here. Now we're gonna add in our other ones on top now. So from the those square holes, we need to add in one square right here. We know it's gonna be about half inch from, let's see here, half inch from this direction, 0.5, and the other way is going to be 0.25, so we're good to go. 0.25. There, that's how small it is. But we can't just say like, okay, let's go add in here and there, because we have the other circles around here too as well. On our spool that you saw in the video, we have these slot holes inside that has a pentagonal, but ours is square, but it should fit inside that one pentagon, so the square space should actually hold against it. But we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes inside the spool. So 8 holes. So right now, you kids, we're gonna be learning math right now. So our circle right here, it equals up to 360. 360 is the entire circle. So we have is, we're going to split into fours. So we have a quarter, or 90 degree. We have half a circle, or 180. We have 3/4 of the circle. That's 175. I almost lost my numbers there. And the entire full circle, which is 360. No, 270. Sorry, that's the wrong number. 270. Or what we're going to do is 25, 50, 75, 100. So this entire thing is 360 around the circle. Now then, we counted 8 slots on our holes. So what we got to do is 360 divided by 8. And I will not try to cheat using the calculator. I'm gonna go to my calculator. Say that aloud. So our slot will be up to, as you guessed it, 45 degrees. Yeah, 45. Anyways, so 45 degrees. So this one is perfectly good in the middle, because right now it is now in the center of the piece. So I'm gonna select this square. I'm gonna select the circle and the circle, because again they're all in the perfect alignment. So this is now perfectly aligned. That's good news. So now we need to make 3 of these in 45 degrees angles. So how do we do that? That's a good question. What we can do is go like this and twist this one, and we're gonna twist up to every 45 degree angle from there. And we're gonna line this guy onto this base right here where it says 40, or this side here onto the circle should be exactly 45 degree angle. Hopefully. I hope so. And then, or actually, oh, hey, guess what? Look, I counted 8 of them, and there's 4 slots that is straight. We don't have to do the 3 circles. We can do 4. I'm gonna do copy, paste. We go down here, paste it, and paste. Oh, I'm using Control V to paste, so that way it'll be easier for me. We're going to rotate this guy to 90 degree. Oops, 90. There we go. Rotate this guy to 90. There we go. Because on my spool I'm looking at right now, it is now exactly 4 even out. So we're good to go. We don't have to do the entire math onto it. So you kids got lucky. No math on here, so that's good news. We're just gonna go straight to 4, so that's good news. Okay, everything else is now perfectly even out. Okay, now then, so we have a little tiny space right here that is about, this is really small. What we can do is about gap, or kind of like space it out from the the 2" from here. Let's go make our sides a little bit even out. Yep. Okay, 64. Good, good. So this is exactly 2 inches, but we need to make this one like a little bit more outward. So what I can do is like touch from the base of it, and we're going to go up to about 1/16. So we're going to go up to about one. See here. Okay, good. So what we're going to do right now is actually have this one touched onto the base of this part. There we go. This one's same thing too as well. There we go. So that way everything else is now touched onto the base just in case. And I'm going to make it up to about 1/32 of an inch onto your snap grid. And what we're going to do is snap to every 2 spaces. It'll be 1, 2, so that's 1/16, and 3. So that way we have a large gap. Hopefully it does work on our printer. Then we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I keep pressing onto the board. That's interesting. And then 1, 2, 3. So hopefully, finger crossed, that this should fit inside the slot hole. Okay, now what we're going to do is add in our slots. We want to make it to those towers, but that's too big, and that's a lot of materials being wasted. I explained on the video before on the MakerBot on how you manage your material filaments. So that way we'll keep our filaments intact and be used wisely. So what we can do is our inside was about an inch. So let's make it about a 1/2 inch above. Let's go to the front view. And this guy is about, whoops. Okay, 1 inch. We're gonna make about 0.5 inch. That does look small. Oh yeah, I forgot. About 0.5 or 25 from the base. So we go plus down. So it's gonna be about 0.75. So I have to add this one. So it'll be 0.5 plus 0.25. It will become 0.75. There we go. So that will become a 1/2 on top. 0.75. 0.75. 0.75. There we go. So now we have a giant spool right here. Now, how are we going to attach? We can actually do this different ways we can try. Like I said before, we can, well, no, you can't glue it onto the base. Of course. Okay, I'm gonna make this one a solid piece. So that way we'll have to move these around. Okay, now this one has to move around onto the spool. So that way it'll be moved evenly. We can do 2 ways. Yeah, we can actually try 2 ways. You might need a parent for this one though. You have to work with a drill and a screw. So you can actually make a cut hole right here in the middle of it. Bring this guy out. Go bring this guy all the way up through. And I'm gonna bring this guy, shift key, hold it down. I'm gonna line these 2 right here. And this one too as well. Okay. There we go. And then I want to see through it, but I can't. Okay. Then what we're gonna do is I'm going to if it's a screwdriver, your diameter will be exact, or might be not exactly, about 25 diameter each for this right here, for this circle. What I'm gonna do is this one right here. This hole is gonna be 1 inch by 1 inch, but it's gonna be about 0.25 from the inside, 0.25 inside, and our height, let's make it about 0.5 all the way down. I'm going to include that one, this one right here. I'm going to align it. There you go. So now it's perfectly centered. This I'm going to bring this out here as natural 1 inch, but I'm bring this upward about 0.5 above ground. Actually, 0.75 from here. So about 0. I'll say 0.75 too as well. And then I think that's it. Actually, no. Actually, that is correct. Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay. Now I'm gonna add this one. This guy. I'm gonna highlight these two right here, so that these two will be two shapes. Hold my shift key, select this cylinder. We're going to align it in the middle to middle. Middle to middle. And what I'm gonna do is combine groups. And there we go. Oops. Our other holes does not show. So let's go bring this guy about. Whoops, wrong one. Here it's going to be about. Let's make it 0.5. Yeah. So it should exactly have those holes right there. Yay! There we go. So you should have a smaller hole. Hopefully you repeat the process. It's going to be about 0.25 diameter, 0.75 in the height. This one, 1 inch diameter. Don't worry about the height. We're not worried about that one. But you adjust that offset off of the workplace about 0.5. And that will give us the holes right here. So you have this hole and the other hole. And that one, you use that one to actually use this bottom one as our drill. If you want to drill into the hole. Or, see here, I'm trying to figure this out too as well. Oh, okay. There's this option you can actually drill this onto the hole. Make sure don't drill all the way through because you want this one loose as a wheel. Once you drill it onto the board. But if you don't want to go that direction, and that's kind of a bit frightening for the kids if they don't want to mess around with the drill and the screw. There's another way too as well. I think I got this right there right now. Yeah, some people are going to tell me like, but Kelsey, what happens if the kid doesn't know how to use a drill? How are you going to resolve this? Okay, so now I got an idea. If we refreshed it, right now we're gonna add in our 0.5. Actually, let's make about our whole 0.6, and this one 0.6 because again we're gonna make a new one, new part, and this right here we're going to be about 0.75, so that'll be about 0.5 in the middle. Okay, good. Shift, get this part, align it. Line this one. There we go. And what we're gonna do is group it. Now this is gonna be 0.75, but it's gonna be 0.5 here. Now then, so we got the bottom part. That'll be our spool, which I'll show you another one on the TinkerCAD on this video. On here, we can make our handle component. So make sure we have is the polygon, because that will be our key slot. And our dimensions gonna be a 1 inch by 1 inch. There we go. So that way everything will be even out. We're going to make this as our whole feature. We're going to bring this up to about 0.5 that we have on our dimension. So right here, 0.5, enter. Because that'll be our offset. So this is the little black arrow on top. That's our offset. Not the square, not the white square one. So once we got this one, this has already been grouped together. I'm going to hold down my shift key, click this part right here. We're going to center this part out on our align. Line it from here and here. So everything else should be in the center. Group it. Voila. So now we have a key slot in here. And I forgot what was the dimension was. I forgot. I'm going to ungroup it. It is... No, that's not that much. Hold on. Okay, 1 inch. So it'll be 1 inch, 1 inch by 1 inch. Okay, good. Almost forgot about it. Okay, group it together. So now we have is our spool. So yay. And look at it. It's on our work plane. So that's good news. Okay, on to the next one. Let's go to TinkerCAD. spool winder beginner, and make sure the bottom one there is the 0.5. So remember that one. So go on to new 3D design. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going top view, the base of it. We're going to change our orthographic to top graphic. This one, I'll make it about 3.5. Just, well, no. Yeah, it's going to be 3" by 3". There we go. So this one will be our bottom plate. So parent, you're okay with it. This one, you can glue it onto either the board or, well, actually, yes, it might be glue, yeah. You can just glue it down on the board or onto the cardboard. This is safer now because this is now onto the board. This one, I'm going to bring this over here. This one's going to be about 0.75. 0.75, enter. And our diameter, before the other one, it was 0.6. Right now, we're going to put into is 0.5. Now, the reason why the other one is a lot bigger from the hole, from 0.5 to 0.6, is because we want the hole and this one, our pin, to be loose. So that way, let's see, I'm gonna go shift this one right here, hold this guy down, we gotta group it together. Whoops, not group, align it, sorry. It'll be our centered. We're going to group it. So that way, this one can be perfectly fixed onto each other. Okay, there we go. And this one can be loose. So once you attach the other one on top of here, it will be loose, but this will be grounded or it'll be glued down. So that way, this will be your spool winder guide. So this one right now, we're gonna be our spool winder guide, or shaft, anchor, or base, either way. Okay, so this one should fit inside the other spool, and that should give us inside of it right now. And that way you can actually measure out your 12" onto either the board, cardboard on top of it. You can actually use that one for your spool and go from there. Now then, for the other one, now we have to make the other is our handle. So 3D design. Now remember that we made our handle from here. What we could do here on this rectangle or this polygon. Yeah, I got the name right. Yeah, we're gonna be 1" by 1". But this one, we want to make it about. Let's see here. If I was gonna make it higher, so if it's a 1" in depth onto the base, even though it's not exactly 1". We're gonna make about 2". There you go. So that should fit onto the print bed, and hopefully this is even. We're good. Okay, but on down hole, if you print it 1" by 1", and the other one's gonna be 1" by 1", the other hole will be smaller, and this one will be too big. What we can do is we can actually size it down to a fraction off of it. So it'll be 1" minus 0.125, so it'll be 1 minus 0.125. Whoops, it doesn't work on here. Okay, I forgot about that. 1" minus 125 will be about, I would say 1 minus 5. Whoops, wrong one. It would be roughly about 0.875 inches, so about 7/8 of an inch. 0.875. But at the same time, it might be loose too as well, so we might add in another fraction of it, but a little smaller. 0.625. Whoops, one. So instead of 0.875, we're gonna plus that one 0.625. Whoops, I mean 0.0625 inches. So that should give us about 0.9375. Hope you kids love math. So if you say no, come on, we need math in our life. This is what we want to make our components, right? Make everything else work. Okay, so now we got this right here. This will print upward, so we're good to go. Next one we're going to print is our handle now. So on our handle, we're going to use our box. We're going to make this about 0.25 inch down below. And what we're gonna do is from 1 inch, we're gonna change. Well, actually, we're gonna change from 1 inch. It's gonna be about 2 inches in length. Actually, we should make about 2.5 or 3. Might be 2.5 be better because that way we'll save more spacing right here. Now then, for this right here, let's go duplicate this guy right here. We're going to copy and paste. Move this guy over here. This time we're going to put this guy as whole. And our measurement for this one is not going to be 0.1938. It's going to be 1 inch right away. So that way, this is a lot more bigger than the other one. There we go. And this one, we're going to shift onto our key. Shift this rectangle to as well. We're going to align it into the center. There we go. We don't want these two to be joined together, so I'm going to highlight these two right here only. Bring it over here. And I'm going to go at the top view. There we go. Hand this way. Okay, this one, I'm going to use my arrow keys. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit away from it. Okay, now our rectangle, we notice that this is a little bit too small on the 1 inch area. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in our 1.25. So let's see how that goes. We're going to align this guy again. Shift, align it. It's a little bit too thin because we don't want it a bit broken down. So what we're going to do is align this guy again. Or let's see, 1.25. We're just go add in about 1.25 plus 125. So 1.25 plus 0.125. It'll become 1.375. Enter. So that should be big enough for us to have a clearance. So shift, rectangle, so that these two will be okay. Align it. There we go. So now this should have a thicker base. We're good to go. We're going to combine these two right here, this polygon and the rectangle. Combine it. There we go. Now the interesting part is our handle. So if we want to measure our hand or a little tiny knob, or let's go add in our knob. Our knob will be a simple sphere. We're gonna add in our knob on top right here on this guy. There we go. I'm gonna hold shift key onto this handle, align it. There we go. Now we notice our rectangle right here is not perfectly rounded for safety reason. I know some Japan's gonna be worried about that. We're going to ungroup it. This rectangle piece right here. I'm going to change the radius on the outside, so hopefully it'll be rounded. There you go. So that will be perfectly rounded, and steps too as well, probably high. There we go. So that way we have to worry about the sharp edges along the way. This one might be a little sharper, but it'll be protected from the inside. We're good to go. Okay. Now we're gonna combine all these three right here. We're going to combine them all. And there we go. So now we have a ball handle on top, and our little shaft should fit inside this one right here onto the second shaft. And this should go onto the other the component that should go inside, and that's it. Okay, so this one might be loose going downward, and then kind of be careful too as well, because again we might do some calculation right here. So it'll be about, let's see, let's go back to this guy right here. I'm gonna right click it, open to new window. So now what we're gonna do is right here is tinker this right here. So we said this guy right here is going to be about 2 inches. And from the inside of this guy right here, we use our ruler. We're going from the inside from here to here, actually. Okay, there you go. So this one right here is about 1.25. This is 1 inch downward. We know that. 1 inch right here. And then we have a fraction off right here, about 0.25. So I think 1 or 2 inches might be rough around the area. So let's go try 1.5. So that way this guy won't touch this guy right here. And our sides, no, it's gonna be 6. Beveled. Ooh, there we go. We gotta try beveled. Let's go bring this guy down here. Segments, we're gonna do like a little bit high to the point, so that would be less sharpened. We're good to go. Our, whoops, it's not when it, well, actually we're good. 9.38, 9.38. We're good to go. We're good to go. So that's it. Yeah, we're good. And this one should be 1 inch by 1 inch. Cool. exit. Now what we're going to do is export this one onto STL files. So now, I hope you guys remember how we could do STL file. I'm going to open this one right here. We're going to open up the spool winder, tinker this. There we go. So now everything else, we have 3 parts on here. We're going to export this one right here. And it's going to be under STL. That'll be our spool winder guide. Spool winders beginners. And of course our spool winder. Spool winder handle assembly. There we go. We're going to export this too as well. STL. Now we're going to go into is our MakerBot slicer. So we'll be right back. We're going to go on to the slicer and we're going to export this one onto STL file. Okay, welcome back, guys. We are here on the MakerBot slicer, and we're going to go over here to our project panel. We're going to open this little folder right here on the top right, or actually top left corner. So we're going to open this one. We're going to add in our models. Okay, remember where we have our files from. So if you have it under downloads, what we're going to do is I'm going to go under data D. I'm going to go under downloads, and I'm going to find my files. Come on. There we go. So this right here should be under, so let's go try our beginners. So this should exactly fit onto here. So this is the reason why it's important to actually measure out your plate. And that way everything else will be fit to go in from the inside. We're going to do the same thing over here on this side. We got plus, or add in our new build plate. Add model. It's going to be under a guide, or spool winder guide. Open. There we go. So now this will fit perfectly. And then our last one will be our handles. So spool winder guide handle assembly. So there we go. So now we're good to go right here. Oops, I kind of moved it, but it's okay. I'm going to align it on the table. Center. There we go. Center, center. So this should be on the center part. Hopefully, if it does. Turns out I forgot to mention that make sure you have these two onto each other, because apparently this is way too far and I want to take them apart, but I can't do that because it's already been assigned. But I think next time, I think I'll do this off the video. I'll probably take these two separate, or do these two separate ones right now, and that way it'll be easier for me to print them out. But again, these two is good to go. So this one right here, what we're going to do is look into our time limit to see how long will this one take to print. I'm going to unplug this one. Okay, so this should give us our time estimate. We're going to print this one twice. Same thing with the other one, twice. However, the other one with the handle guide will be 1. Okay, now we see this right here. It's going to take about 3 hours and 55 minutes. And that's okay, because that way we're going to let this print by its own. Everything else is good to go for the infill from the inside, but if you want to add a little more to actually give a little more of the a good sturdiness, it's okay. Let's go add in about maybe 12%, and we'll see what happens. Or 13%. But remember, the higher the infill, the longer it'll take. But that's okay, because we want this to be stronger to hold the spool, and the spool to wind itself. Okay, there we go. So now we see the infill is now changed. So this is a lot more stronger and sturdier. But our time will be 4 hours and 1 minute. It's okay. So we're gonna test this out right now. But I will not be here because right now I'm over my time limit for my working time. I will do this off camera, and that way we can try this next time right now. But we will see the finished result on the 3D printed part. I'm going to show you how you take it apart carefully and and carefully, and make sure you have a parent or a adult to actually help you out with it. I showed you guys the other video about the MakerBot guide on how you care for your printers, and also how to handle or use useful tools as well. So hopefully that's a good hint from there, and that way you can actually use that one. So I will write down the description of the video from that one. Now you look into that video to actually show how you removed your 3D printed part from here off of the build plate from here, because you are using tools. If it does come apart by hand, that's good news. But if it's really stuck together, use the scraper tool. Hopefully it does come apart. If it doesn't, have an adult help you out. Please have an adult help you out, because again, you'll be working with dangerous objects that is sharp, and you will hurt yourself. So I don't want you to do that. So safety is the priority. So that's my main goal. Okay, and after that, we'll see if it does fit onto the spool. If it does, but if not, we will show you another way how to actually refine it, or we can go back to the TinkerCAD, reconfigure it one more time with another spool with a better one, but we can actually refurnish the first printed part that we can actually try that one out. Okay, so I'll see you next time. This is under February 6th. So I'll see you tomorrow, February 7th. See the final result. Go from there. Okay, goodbye.